What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the August Love Story podcast. I'm your host, Tommy T. This is my beautiful wife, Artieka T. In the building with me, once again, she's too cool for school. Today, we are talking about not the Derrick Jaxn situation. Like, recently in the news, well, we're a little late on it, but
it was just last week.
Yeah, Derrick Jaxn, I don't know, like, never knew who that guy was, but he cheated on his wife. So lately we've been talking about cheating and divorce and everything. It kind of goes into what we've been talking about, but we never discuss the other side, the cheatee, or the person that was cheated on is considered to be the cheatee, right? Yeah. So we're going to talk about the aspects of cheating from the perspective of the person who was cheated on, the cheatee. But before we get into everything, please go subscribe to the channel. If you listen to us on the podcast, please subscribe to our podcast. Everywhere you're listening to podcasts, your favorite podcast place, on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you know when we're dropping something new. Other than that, let's get into it. So, babe, cheating is bad, as we've discussed previously. But the biggest thing is what we don't think about or what we don't talk about a lot is the person's response to it or the person who was cheated on. So, right. Have you ever been cheated on before? Like, what was your thoughts as far as continuing on to be in a relationship with a person that cheated on you? Because I've been cheated on before. I have a unique situation. I did not find out during the relationship. I found out after the relationship that I had been cheated on. And it's weird because actually he reached out to me like in the last couple of years. Oh yeah. And was just like, I'm sorry. Yeah. I had to right all my wrongs. And I was like, what? Right. What is this that you speak of? No, I mean, I knew shortly after our relationship was over because I met his girlfriend. I guess they were dating at the time. And that's who he had cheated on me with. Yeah. I met her, and when she got introduced to me and she heard my name, she looked like she saw a ghost. Oh yeah. And she was actually on the phone with him. So she knew that. I knew her name, but I had never met her. He had described her to me as his homegirl, and they were hanging out. I didn't think anything of it at that time. But I never met her. He and I broke up probably about a year after said interactions of him and her hanging out. And then I got to college and she was a friend of a friend. Yeah. So I walked in, I heard her name. I didn't think anything of it because it's just like if you met somebody, her name's not Ashley, by the way, but if you met somebody named Ashley, you wouldn't think, oh, that's the Ashley that my boyfriend was talking to. You would never think that. So when I heard her name, never clicked or rung a bell in my head that this was the girl that he was talking to. Right. Well, she happened to be on the phone with him when I walked in the room. And when she said his name and said she was going to call him back, she called him by his nickname, which is what I also call him. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. So then the friend, her roommate, told the whole story of them getting into a relationship. Like he had a girlfriend. She didn't know I was the girlfriend. Yeah. So like I got everything that I didn't even want to know out of that conversation just because I was walking with my friend to her friend's room because we were all gonna go to Presidential to eat. Did y'all still go to Presidential?
Well, his girlfriend wasn't coming with us, but the friend who was the roommate was. So the three of us went, and that's how we had the conversation, was over Pizza Hut at Presidential.
That's funny.
So literally fast forward, they ended up getting married. His wife has now passed away, but it was like during the time that he found out his wife was not going to make it, like they had given her a grave prognosis. That's when he reached out to me and was like, hey, just want to right all my wrongs, let you know that I'm sorry for how everything has happened. I'm about to be raising daughters on my own, and I would never want someone to hurt my daughter the way I felt like I hurt you, so let me apologize. So on that side of it, I never had to sit there and deal with you cheated on me, am I going to take you back? Because that just wasn't my case. If I got cheated on outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah.
And apparently I'm oblivious.
Apparently. Like it's crazy because I've been on both sides of the thing. Like, it's weird. At 34.
Oh, you are 34.
At 34, it's like looking back at my 20, 21, 22-year-old self, and I'm thinking like, damn, I did a lot of dumb stuff. Like, for example, when I was 20, I was cheated on and I found out. And, the thing was, I had to make a decision then to either stick together or to, walk away from the situation. So I chose to stay. Here's why. I chose to stay because at 20 years old, I didn't know that that's not how relationships were supposed to go. I didn't know that those type of, like, I believe that you should have struggles in relationships, but I didn't know that wasn't a part of the script. So,
okay. Because you said you didn't know that was a part of the script, had cheating been normalized around you?
No, it's I don't think cheating had been normalized, because before then it was, how were you cheating on people? Before 20, it was, I didn't see people cheating on people the way that we considered the cheating to be.
What do you mean? Like
people wasn't out here just having sex with everybody and still had a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Or myself, I didn't know, and that wasn't something that I was doing, because most of the time I was single.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so my thought process in it was, we have to go through things and we have to get through things. But then on the flip side of that,
you're the epitome of struggle love.
Yeah, right. But on the flip side of that, of me getting cheated, it was a sense of, okay, she cheated on me, so I have a pass.
Which is not okay.
Like I told you, my 34-year-old self looks back at my 20-year-old self and say, you made some dumb decisions. You did some dumb things. And so, that was my thinking then. It was like, she cheated on me. Now I have a pass to do whatever I wanted to. And that turned me into a cheater.
Did you guys ever have a conversation about said cheating on both sides? Like, did she know that you were cheating?
She didn't. She didn't find out I was cheating until we had broken up.
Okay.
It was one point in time that she thought, like, it's crazy.
Were you cheating when she thought it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And
now you can tell the story about the thought.
Yeah. Like the reason why she thought it is because her phone had messed up. And so I had gotten a new phone, and I gave her my old phone. And never erased anything.
Oh, well,
yeah, like so,
that was dumb to be able to look through these text messages.
It was the dumbest thing in the world. But the smart part is, I never said anything to incriminate myself in my text messages.
How? Like, what was in there that made her think it but not know it?
Like, I would text a girl and be like, nice to see you, or see you this day, or something like that. But it was never I was in school. So
you were like, this is my study partner.
Yeah.
She just didn't know what studying you was doing.
Right. But the thing was, she called the people. And the girls was like, nah, we just cool. So I was like,
That's happened to me before. But I wasn't having sex with the guy.
Yeah.
Like a guy that I actually went to high school with. A girl was going through his phone and calling all the girls whose numbers he had saved. Now, mind you, me and him had never texted, hadn't talked to each other on the phone. He only had my number. I don't even remember why he had my number because it's not like we didn't talk to each other at all, but he was in college with us too. And this girl was like, I know y'all talking. And I'm like, what? Like, I can't even tell you the last time I saw him, let alone anything like happening between us. And it was just like, girl, if you that insecure, break up with him.
Yeah. But, everything brings, I want to bring it back to the actual idea that the person who was cheated on, because like back to my idea of thinking that was what was supposed to happen. Like I was supposed to stick it out because we're in love and, I can get past that.
I wish I could ask your 20-year-old self questions about this.
Oh man,
to get through the logic.
It was the dumbest lie. I'm telling you what.
No. The like, what is too much?
Yeah, like I didn't have a clear definition of what was too much because at that point it was the gloves are off. I'm gonna stick it out with you, but I'm not finna be faithful to you. Just because there's no way for me to know that what you did was a mistake.
Did you cheat through the duration, like until the relationship ended, or did you stop?
I stopped once. I honestly stopped once. I don't know when I stopped, but I stopped once. I think I graduated college. Mm-hmm. And I think we broke up. At some point we broke up. Mm-hmm. And stuff like that. So I don't remember when we broke up or whatnot, but we broke up and, that was the end. So I guess I did cheat throughout the duration of the relationship. Never thought about that.
Yes, I did.
Right. But just to think about the mindset of people that get cheated on and decide to stay, it's so many reasons, you know what I'm saying? There's so many things that you think about. Is this worth the relationship? Is this worth what I have to fight through? Because even at my 20-year-old self, it made me insecure about myself. Am I not good enough for her to not want me? For her not to cheat on me, to go further? And like from my 34-year-old self, it's not an insecurity anymore because this is so cliche and most of the time you hear women say this, but I am enough. I am the prize in the relationship.
I don't think it's cliche. I think it's the truth. And men usually have the upper hand in that side of thinking. Because little girls are taught to go out and seek a husband as if your life is not complete until you get married. Men are taught you're enough. Yeah. You can have whatever you want out here. You're enough. But girls aren't taught that.
And see, that's a weird thing about it is because being cheated on and then having to decipher, am I enough? What else can I endure in this relationship to have a good relationship? Like I didn't learn what a good relationship was until I got with you. And basing the relationship off, and it is crazy, and basing the relationship off of, we were friends first. We continue to be friends.
That was something that I always said that I wanted, was to have a person in my life that I considered a friend. I never thought that growing up, I wasn't a girl who aspired for marriage. I was one of the ones that was treated like a boy in that regard. Yeah. You're enough. You can go out here and get whatever you want. Yeah. Like, you don't have to settle for anything. You can choose what you want. So having that as my mindset, marriage was not my aspiration. Like I wasn't going out here like they joke about it in college with white girls saying that they go to college to get their MRS. Mm-hmm. Like they're not going to get their MA or their BS or BA. Like they're not going to get a bachelor's or a master's. Yeah. They're going to become a wife. And I was using college as my pass through to actually get to the path that I wanted to take. Mm-hmm. Whatever that path may have been. But I never thought through things like I have to find a husband or I have to be this way so that a guy will want to marry me, because I was always like, you know what? I'm great.
Yeah.
I don't have to do that. Like, I don't have to be a certain way. I don't have to dress a certain way. I don't have to think a certain way for someone to want to be with me. And I think that that's one of the things that we ingrain in little girls incorrectly, that they need to be a certain way to get a man.
To be enough for a man. Like that's and that's the thing. It's like
I'm sorry.
It's like the being like ingrained that way. Mm-hmm. And because most of the time it's a man cheats on a woman and the woman has to make the decision to stay.
That's usually what is projected.
Yeah. And so in the idea of trying to figure out, am I going to stay? Is love enough to keep us together? It makes you question, well, what is the love that we have? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, this man or this woman, in my case, caused us, like, put a riffle in the love that we thought we had. Mm-hmm. You know, so now you're sitting at a situation that's uncomfortable. You're sitting at a situation that you're like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
You know, you don't know which way to turn because everybody's going to say leave. Mm-hmm. But we all know leaving is not always the correct answer.
I guess I'm not going to say that it's not always the correct answer, but you have to figure out the root of the problem. And one of the things I have to say, like, you as a person that got cheated on is not the problem.
No.
You're not the problem. Like, they made the conscious decision to cheat on you.
Right.
So that was their problem. Because like we said in the previous video, you got 3 choices.
Right. You definitely got 3 of them.
So since you had 3 choices, you exercise the wrong choice by saying that I'm going to cheat on you. Mm-hmm. So when you exercise the wrong choice, you have to deal with the consequences that come from that. Now, do a lot of people stay and stick around? Absolutely. Some people stick around because that's all that they've known. Mm-hmm. And not just to say that, like, this is the only man that they've been with or something like that. All that they have known is the trauma surrounding it. Because if you grew up in that type of trauma, you're normalizing that type of trauma. Right. Like, when you have good examples of healthy relationships, you tend to not think about things in that way. Like, what more can I take? I have to be able to take more. Like, I'm strong, I'm independent. No, you don't have to do that. Like, it's okay. You can go be strong and independent by yourself. Like, it's cool to do that. But going back to the Derrick Jaxn situation, I felt like his wife was the butt of a lot of jokes. And some of that was her fault. Mm-hmm. Not because she sat there with him, but because of all the things that came along with that after the fact. Because, number one, let's start off. She got on the internet. She sat with him while he held her hand. And they talked through him lying, him cheating, her leaving, and then her coming back together. Well, then this all ends up blowing up all over social media because people were coming after her because of how she was dressed. Yeah. What she had on. And she could have just took that and just been like, this is me, this is how I dress. Because I'm gonna be honest, we record on YouTube 1 to 3 times a week, just depending on what's going on. And I'm not getting up and putting on lipstick and
right.
and doing my hair for every single video that we do. And when we normalize saying that's why he cheated on you, that's to say that she did something wrong.
Right.
And it's not the case. Like, she did not do anything wrong in that situation. Now, she got on this video. I'll give her that. People gonna have their opinions about how you looked on that video. But then she came back and did another video saying that she had on the helmet of salvation and the breastplate of righteousness. And I'm like, girl, you look a fool out here right now. Stop. It could have ended with that first video, and there would have been nothing more to say. She don't dress well. We're done.
So, like, with that situation, and I didn't watch that second video because I felt like the first video was enough.
Well, I watched the Cam on stage thing where he was just like, shh, and he turned off his phone in the middle of her talking through it.
Like, I feel like at that point, it's not about what happened to you. It's about you trying to stand up like you can.
Right.
Sometimes you just have to let people say what they're going to say and move past it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, like, you at that moment, her in the situation, his wife, at that moment had to make one of the biggest decisions you will ever have to make that everybody doesn't have to make. You know,
whether you're going to allow yourself to be publicly ridiculed.
No, whether you're like, you're standing by this man and you're publicly saying, I'm standing by my man. Mm-hmm. But can you, like, you have to make the decision as to if it's really helping or if that's really what you want to do, because you're a public figure at that point. You know,
like he inadvertently made her a public figure.
Right, inadvertently.
By cheating on her and then presenting her to us after said cheatation got out. Because
she had to sit down and say, hey, I want to do this video. Mm-hmm. Because he could have just took all that because he was the public figure. Mm-hmm. Even somebody would have been like, his wife is this, his wife is that. But she never needed to respond to it. Right. It's not her place to respond to it.
Because she didn't do anything wrong.
She's the victim. She was the cheatee. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's like, dog, you put yourself in a position to be talked about and ridiculed, and then you respond to that. Like, there's no reason for you to respond. There's no reason for you to have to defend yourself or your decision to stay, because you were the person that was wrong.
But I can understand why she felt like she needed to say something, because people are thumb thugs. Like, people get on, who is it, Al Gore's internet?
Yeah.
And they feel that they need to tell you things about yourself, no matter if you ask them or not.
Like, it's funny that you bring that up, because this is like, in our small YouTube family, we've gotten comments.
Those aren't family members.
No, those are not family members. But we've gotten comments about, somebody said something about your hair. Mm-hmm. Somebody literally has said, I don't know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And my initial thing was to get mad. Mm-hmm. But then I thought about it. I said, man, I appreciate you saying that, because at least you're listening enough to say, I don't know what I'm talking about, because a lot of stuff I don't.
But I'm a subject matter expert on myself.
Right. I know more about me than anybody else on this earth.
Right.
So I'm an expert at Tommy. You know, I'm not going to say I'm an expert on Artieka, but I know Artieka. Mm-hmm. You know, and for somebody to just be watching us or listening to us, all we're doing is just trying to give you what we thought, give you our thoughts, give you our opinions about the specific topic on relationships, because not all relationships are the same, but we go through the same situations.
But even like, still, like you were saying, your first instinct was to get upset. Mm-hmm. My first instinct is like, not even instinct. I'm upset when I read it, but my gut reaction is, I'm gonna tell you about yourself. Then I have to step back and think, I personally don't care about you. Yeah. Like, and it's not to say that I only care about people that are praising us, because there are people in like our comment section that like write things like, you know, I don't agree with what y'all said, but they can say it in a way that is like, okay, it's cool. I can see your side of it. I don't agree with what you said either, but we can agree to disagree and we don't have to be rude to each other. Yeah. I think that what she was doing, Derrick Jaxn's wife, that is, what she was doing was responding to people who were coming at her negatively, and it's human nature to do that. Like, you don't want anybody to try to talk crazy about you, so you find a way to rebuttal that talk crazy. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, you're like, she's human, and all these people, like, she was in the background. She was not a forefront person. Like, he wasn't putting her on social media, which was probably so that he could look single. But he wasn't putting her out in the forefront of anything. And then now all of a sudden I'm thrust into the spotlight. And not only are y'all like acting like this is my fault, y'all are talking crap about me. I have to defend myself. Yeah.
And it's like, man, not like be the victim. Like, I ain't just like, I don't want to say like, oh, you got to embrace that. But no, it's you did nothing wrong. Being the person that was cheated on. You did actually you did everything right. Now you, like you said earlier, you have to look for the source of the issue. Why did this man cheat on me?
And is he going to continue doing so?
I don't want to specifically say, man, why did this man or woman cheat on me?
Well, I'm just taking their situation as the specific. Like, what are you going through that you feel like you need to have this woman, this woman, this woman, this woman?
Or this man, this man, this man, this man.
And then you're just not going to let me just talk about them specifically.
No.
Anyways, so you figure out why this person is wanting all of these things, because that's something that they have to fix within themselves. And then you have to decide, as Toni Braxton's mama says, are you going to let him cheat in peace? Because if he's going to be a cheater, you either have to agree to let him cheat in peace or leave him alone. Those are your two options. Like, they got three. When it comes to cheating, you got two once you become cheated on. So it's either you let him cheat in peace or you leave. I'm not an advocate for letting people cheat in peace. So my decision is to go.
But I mean, like, it's so crazy, and it can go so many ways. You know, like I tell people all the time, like, man, get you some counseling. Like marriage counseling, us talking about counseling. I say it when I'm talking to people about us doing a podcast, I always tell them it's like me and her can have therapy together. Just talking about different things that happen, not necessarily things that we had already gone through, but together, or, you know, different situations in the relationship that you have with people. So, I think we kind of did our thing with that. Do we have a listener letter for today?
My phone fell.
Oh, man.
Okay. You can ask that again.
So what's our listener letter for today? I'm leaving that in.
Oh, okay. Please send your listener letters to ouraugustlovestory@gmail.com, and we just might read it aloud on the show. I'm going to have to like shorten this because she gave way too much life information in here. This person says, I need advice. My husband and I are newly married, but we've been together for 6 years. About a month into our marriage, his ex-wife, whom he has been divorced from for over a decade, sent me some screenshots of an inappropriate conversation that they have had since he and I have been married. When I talked to my husband, he decided that he was going to cut off all communication with his ex-wife unless it pertained to their 16-year-old child together. Then his ex-wife flipped the script and denied that she even sent me those screenshots and said to him that I must have gotten them from snooping through his phone. She told me that I ruined their relationship, and she's also threatening him to do things like take away his parental rights. He's worried that she's going to be vindictive and say that he can't see his child. I told him that if she does that, we can go to court. He wants to try to avoid conflict with her, so he does what she wants him to do. What can I do to keep having a healthy relationship with my husband and him also still be able to see his daughter?
Encourage him to go to court. Mm-hmm. Like when a person, that's the simplest answer. You have to, and it happened to us. Mm-hmm. That's the crazy part. That's all I thought about was like, man, you have to, certain things can happen in your home. One of them is an outside person cannot run your household. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, you cut it off.
Right.
You know, so in this sense, the cutoff is go to court, set up your visitation. She can't take your rights as a parent because you're the parent too.
Yeah, and the weird thing about people and the threats for taking away parental rights are never sound threats.
No.
I'm going to take away your rights because you won't talk to me.
Right, no.
I'm not saying I won't talk to you. I just say I'm not going to talk to you anything that doesn't have to do with the child.
Yeah.
Those are two isolated things.
Right.
So why do we act like those are one and the same? And taking away the parental rights, saying that you can't see your child at 16 years old, a judge or even a mediator, because it would probably go into mediation and not actually with the judge. A mediator would take into consideration the 16-year-old because they have enough sense at 16 to not just say, hey, I want to see my mama only because she gives me ice cream on the weekends.
Right.
Like, no. Let's stop being dumb about this situation. Like, people talk about how much they don't want the courts to control their marriages or their relationships, but they take piss poor abuse from a person who ultimately does not matter in their household because they're afraid of something that a judge may or may not say. All you have to do is go in, because as we learned in our situation years ago, child support is totally separate from visitation. Mm-hmm. You go in and you get mediation for visitation. Now, if she attempts the child support route, you just got to dig in your bag of receipts and figure that all out. Or you can just not talk to your child for the next 2 years because at 18, what your ex-wife says won't matter at all. Yeah. And if they're 16, you got no less than 2 years before none of that matters to begin with.
But my thing is, who wants to deal with that? Like the thing is, and from a man's point of view, or from my point of view, when it happened to us, I wanted peace and I wanted to be with you. Mm-hmm. But I still had an obligation to my child at the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I still was this child's father. Mm-hmm. And until we found out that she wasn't mine, my job was to be her father.
Right. And you can be her father with visitation.
Right. And so the thing was, I wanted peace in my household and I wanted to be with my wife. Mm-hmm. With my girlfriend at the time, but she became my wife. But I still had a job to do as far as being a dad. Mm-hmm. And with that being the case, you have to do what's best for you and the child.
Right.
And not seeing this child is not good for the child. Not being a part of this child's life is not good for the child. But also being controlled in your home is not good for your current relationship. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Or holding the child as a pawn in the game is not good for your relationship.
Especially a 16-year-old child, like, who
can actually see and understand what's going on. That's terrible.
That's manipulation at its finest. And I just don't deal with that type of manipulation.
Not at all.
My advice, like we said, go get some visitation, go to court.
Get visitation set up and go to court. So
go sit down with a mediator. And usually if you guys go ahead and file for it, the mom will back off because it was a threat.
Yeah.
Because if that's really what she wanted to do, she would have already done it.
Right.
But I'd also have to check my husband as well, because why are you sending inappropriate messages to this woman?
Exactly.
Because that's my number one problem. Not you losing the communication with your 16-year-old child, because I can give a 16-year-old a phone and they can communicate with me. But why are you sending your ex-wife messages about anything that is not this child? Because ex-wife, what do y'all have to talk about? Especially of ex-wife of over a decade.
Yeah.
We don't have no old loose tax bills to tie up. We shouldn't have any property still out there lingering. Like, we shouldn't have anything that ties us to each other except for this child. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Nah, I feel you 100%.
As my friend Luanda says, I'm gonna knock you up between your head. Not upside your head. Between.
So hopefully that helps. Yeah. So what's our quote for the episode?
I think I've actually done this quote before.
Have you?
Because I haven't been listening to music this week, guys. Yeah. Like, literally, we've been listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, and
we was listening to
the Isley Brothers and a little Michael Jackson. Yeah. We haven't listened to any rap music since we've been out because I only listen to music in the car at this point. But I chose today was a good day because y'all don't know this, but we're filming this on Easter Sunday, so this is the only thing that I could do without like going and pulling out Snoop Dogg's gospel album or Kanye's gospel album.
Which won a Grammy, by the way.
I didn't listen to it.
Yeah, it's nice.
So just start out. Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kind of odd. No barking from the dog, no smog, and my mama cooked a breakfast with no hog. That didn't happen in our house.
No.
Mama definitely had some pork on the fork.
Yeah. I don't even think I used it for it. I think you'll use my hand. But there you have it, man. Once again, thank you for listening to another episode of the August Love Story podcast. Like I said earlier, you can subscribe to the YouTube page at August Love Story. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at August Love Story. What else?
Subscribe, like, share these videos to someone else who you know that might be interested. It's more than enough for us to talk to you guys. We're always looking for new people to talk to.
Yeah, for sure.
So definitely, if you have any friends or family that you think might be interested in our podcast or in our reviews, definitely take the time to send those over to them. We're in the middle of the Married at First Sight season. We are about to start up Ready to Love, and I think one other show. We haven't committed fully, so maybe. But that's all I got.
All right, man. We out. Peace.
Bye.